welcome. And if you've seen me before, welcome back. You know what I'm saying? I just came on here to vent and basically just give my thoughts on the situation that, you know what I'm saying, I think. Now y'all let me know in the comments if I'm wrong or if you see it the same way. But Anthony Edwards' career is very similar to Dwayne Wade, and they might be going down the same path. And when I say that is because for all you that may not know, Anthony Edwards has suffered, I think it was a hyperextension in his left knee with a bone bruise. But not only that, he also has, I think runner's knee in his right knee. You know what I'm saying? And if you all know, Dwayne Wade early in his career was a player that relied heavily on athleticism. Um, Very similar to Anthony Edwards. It's just Anthony Edwards definitely has a better shot, I would say. But as far as the similar play styles, getting to the rim and using their athleticism to really impact the game, they're very similar. And Dwayne Wade early in his career, before, but after he won the rings and basically was making himself a household name, he suffered an injury, and believe it or not, the injury was in his knee. I think it was a torn meniscus or it was something like that. He had trouble with his knee, and ultimately he did turn out to still have a very successful career, but the injury definitely impacted the trajectory of his career. You know what I'm saying? It definitely hindered him from becoming way more successful than he already was. For all you that may know, D Wade, like I said, won a ring in his third, fourth year. In his third year. Won a ring in his third year. There's not many players that's doing that, especially leading their team. He wasn't just an ordinary player that happened to be on the roster. He was the lead dog. You know what I'm saying? Averaging 30 in the finals. You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest finals performances in history. You know what I'm saying? In his third year. So he basically just getting his feet wet. But, after that injury, you definitely saw him, start to slow down and really become more of a well-rounded basketball player. I'm not sure. I think it was D Rose that said this. After he suffered his major injury of, tearing his ACL, and tearing his ACL basically multiple times, he said that he had to learn how to play basketball, play real basketball, and really start to not rely as much on his athleticism. And the reason why I put that out there is because I think Ant is kind of in a similar boat where he's going to have to start learning to not rely as much on his athleticism. And I'm sure Ant probably already realizes this, and he's probably already in that mode of, okay, I'm about to start slowing down as far as, not jumping on every single play, not trying to play as aggressive, because if you watch him play, he's definitely aggressive, similar to D Wade. But D Wade is also another player that you can definitely tell in the later stages of his career, he became more of a well-rounded basketball player. That it wasn't just, his athleticism and speed. You know what I'm saying? He definitely slowed down and started becoming more methodical. When to take over games, when to, basically learning the pace of the game. And I definitely see a similar trajectory for Anthony Edwards. Now I hope, this is not a major injury that, hinders his career completely to where he wouldn't even reach near the potential that he's, heading towards. Because the trajectory he's on right now, he's definitely going to become one of the greatest players to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Just the trajectory he's on. He, like, if you watch him play, he's really putting this franchise on his back, and he definitely has the potential to be one of the greatest players. Just looking at the way he changes the game, looking at the way he takes over games, the personality. He's basically like a personality of the NBA. He's just one of them players that when you talk about the NBA, like Anthony Edwards going to be one of those players, first players that you bring up. That even if somebody that don't watch basketball, they're going to know Anthony Edwards. But yeah, I hope this injury just doesn't, hinder his career, or stops him from the full potential he can reach. Because, from what it's looking like now, it's definitely looking like a D Wade situation in my understanding. I feel like he's definitely gonna have to slow down, play less aggressive, just become more methodical, and really, not be as explosive, because he definitely has the potential to do that. You know what I'm saying? He's not one of those players that heavily rely on his athleticism or only relies on his athleticism. He definitely has a gracefulness to his game where it seems like like he's floating at times, where it's like he's in a rhythm and it's just everything is one movement. You know what I'm saying? He definitely has a gracefulness and smoothness to his game, so he definitely can switch his play style a little bit. I don't think it's to the point where a D Rose situation where he say he has to learn basketball again or learn how to play real basketball. You could definitely tell he understands the game. But I definitely think this is the part of his career that he's definitely have to switch his play style, and stop heavily relying on athleticism as much as he is. But yeah, I just came on here to give my thoughts. I wonder if y'all see the same thing. Let me know if y'all see the same thing or am I tripping. But I definitely see the trajectory of D Wade, his career going similar to how D Wade was going. And also if he gets that other star, I really see, his career going the same way as D Wade. I'm talking about not just a random, he has the potential to become a star. No, like a ready-made star, like when D Wade got Shaq, for example, or when D Wade got LeBron. If you can get somebody of that caliber to Anthony Edwards, you know what I'm saying, or even somebody close to that, the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely see his career going similar. That's another reason why I say his career trajectory is definitely going similar, because early on in D Wade's career, he was already becoming a household name. You could just tell he needed that next star next to him. You know what I'm saying? To put him over the edge. And once he got that, he became who he is today. You know what I'm saying? Won his first ring. Now ultimately, Anthony Edwards, he's been in the league for 5 going on 6 years now. So it's past the time when D Wade won his ring, but Anthony Edwards still young. It's not too late for him to win a ring. He's still in his prime. It doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. I just think because of this injury, he's going to have to slow his game down. That's the only thing about slowing him down. That's the only thing he's going to slow down, in my opinion. But yeah, I just came on here to vent. You know what I'm saying? To really just give my thoughts on the situation. Not if y'all care or not. It don't really matter. But yeah, just let me know what y'all think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do those 3 things for me. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.